Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about the Poco F3, which I have tested in my Facebook channel. So this starts at $350 USD. We don't need to talk so much. It's great bargain. It's one of the best value phone of the year. It has a Snapdragon 870, which is, the processor from last year, the flagship processor powering all the flagships, Android flagships. And today, if you want to buy a S21 Plus, the current Android flagship, alright, high-end, not Android, not flagship, that costs twice as this. The iPhone 12, the definitive, flagship phone, starts at, $900 if you count the 128 gig storage option, which is 3 times of this. So with a Snapdragon 870 processor, which is near flagship, and a 120 Hz OLED display, what are you losing, from buying this? This should be a flagship killer. But from my experience of using it for the past 2 weeks, I'll say that's a lot to nitpick from this, seems to be brilliant phone. Let's start the nitpicking. Alright, before we jump to the bad points, let's talk about the, introducing the phone. So, looks like, like any random phone out there today, you have a really big screen, a notch here at the center, and, very big camera bump at the back, and a really pretty mirror finish at the back, but you can put fingerprints on it really fast, which is pretty useless, to be honest. Overall, I think it's near meh to ugly. Alright, depends on your taste. So you want to put case on it, and the screen is 120 Hz, is a OLED, which is the main selling point of this thing. Like flagship level 120 Hz OLED, pretty decent colors. Brightness is decent, but I'll talk about it later. And as dual speakers, real speakers, here you can see the holes here, right? Right, it's dual speakers, front and back, but it's not front facing, it's the side. Then you have a side mounted fingerprint sensor, which is really sophisticated and very easy to use in this pandemic. And that's all the more positive points of the phone. Let's all now move to the bad point. So let's start from the screen. It's a OLED 120 Hz, brilliant, isn't it? But the software has some issues with it. So when it's running really hot, it's really hungry for power, it will have the auto dimming issue, which you can look on the internet. Basically, it will just dim down the screen to a really low level, and you need to put it back on. It's just annoying. And normally the OLED, which is from Samsung, which should be really bright, it's not that bright. It's the auto brightness just doesn't work at all the time. It's really dark. I need to put it up to really high brightness all the time. And finally, maybe it's just QC issues, but for my unit, under very dark conditions, I'm using it on very low brightness. It has dark patches over the places when you are looking at a pure black content. It will just have dark patches, which is really annoying, which just means it's pretty bad. It's not a pleasant experience using this, flagship display. It's nowhere flagship at all. Let's talk about the experience of using this phone. It has a near flagship processor. The daily tasks using it should be decent, isn't it? And it also has 120 Hz display, so it should be silky smooth, isn't it? However, it's not that easy. So the X70 is really great for gaming, other than Genshin Impact, which no Android phone can run it decently. Alright, for every other game it runs pretty smooth. It won't overheat badly. It actually provides gaming phone performance from last year running X65 Plus. It's pretty decent phone for gaming. But what if you don't do gaming? That's the thing. The X70 is not Apple processor fast, so during normal tasks, it's really smooth when you're scrolling up and down, side to bottom on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit. But the time that it takes to go into the app, the response time, everything is noticeably slower than the iPhone, which kind of diminish, you know, the need for such a great processor. And you know, the refresh rate, of course the processor is pretty important for the longevity of the device, we wouldn't deny that, but yeah, that's not really flagship to me. It's decent performance nonetheless. And yeah, MIUI on the other hand is just dragging down the device. So when I got the device, I think it's already a month since, you know, Poco started selling this thing, and I think 1.5 months since China started selling their own Poco, or they call it Redmi K40. So this thing, when I got it, it has a standby battery issues. They call it a bug. So basically, when you're not running the phone, it's putting on sleep, it's still running like, you know, on like half power or full power. So during the night, when I just leave it, you know, not charging it on sleep, it will take up 20% when I wake up. And during normal days, it will just, you know, run it and just heats up by itself. It's really hot. It was staggering. I was surprised, like I thought this was malfunctioning. And after that, Xiaomi fixed it after 2 weeks after I got the phone. So if you are those person pre-ordering these things, it's 1.5 months. Then Xiaomi finally fixed this fatal flaw, dragging down the experience of using this phone. After that, it's pretty decent. It's like normal X65 from last year. Yeah, you're getting like last year's flagship performance after Xiaomi fixed it. And they fix it for me in their 12.0.3, but apparently that don't really work for every devices. So it might not be working for you. If you have a, you know, buggy device, you might need to try keep reformatting the phone, you know, and reinstalling, or just wait for Xiaomi to fix yours. So it's pretty bad, because in my opinion, that's, you know, that's like 835 performance, you know, for 3-4 years ago. You know, your phone heats up all the time, you know, you get, you know, 5 to 6 hours battery life of this thing. This thing should normally last about 8 to 9 hours of screen on time, but with the stupid bug, it only lasts 5 hours. It's the battery life overall is just as bad as my, you know, iPhone 12 mini. That's absurd. That's the bad software in this thing, other than, you know, the screen dimming. And it also has like, you know, pretty bad gesture support. So if you want to use the gestures on this thing, right, you know, swipe back to main menu, you need to use the original launcher, because the MIUI or Poco UI, they don't let you to use third-party launcher that have not yet fixed it. And they also have like a really over-aggressive dark mode. So if you turn on dark mode, a lot of the thing, they will just darken it by itself, which if you use other phones, it shouldn't be. It should just, you know, darken the background, but it just, you know, darks everything up. It's just stupid. It has plenty of bugs, and as a, you know, long-time phone users using every other phone, and also Xiaomi's phone, I don't expect them to fix it so soon. So if you're buying this, you need to be aware of these issues. Go look on the internet, you know, prepare of, you know, what are you going to face, because it might be pretty broken and you will need to return it within a week after realizing it that, you know, you can fix it. Also the haptic motor, and this is pretty weak. So, you know, another thing, yeah, the overall experience of using this is kind of like, for me, like using like a mid-range device from, you know, 2 years ago, or something like a Honor 9X Pro. You know, it's faster, but it's not way faster, not significantly better. Then we come to the aspect which defines a flagship. So every phone brands just market their flagship mainly from, you know, 5 years ago with the camera, this thing. And I can say this thing, the camera of this thing is just, you know, it's nowhere near flagship level. In fact, it's even worse than a lot of the mid-range phones from other Chinese brands and even Samsung. So the camera overall, it's alright. It can take alright decent pictures. Xiaomi's color science is a bit muted. They just want to contrast. They just want to, you know, shines out the, you know, the detail, the resolution, because they, you know, have 48 megapixels. So they're muted a lot. They make it really flat, and a lot of the time it makes pictures look like crap. Focus decent, just the white balance is just not working most of the time. And they stock camera takes like about half a second to get in. It has a X70, and to take a picture, all right, focus on something, it takes like half a second. It has some kind of lag. It's not decent. It's not instant like you get on other flagships or even newer phones, which becomes really apparent if you install, Google Camera on it. This is Google Camera, all right. You just download it from the internet and just install it. It's instantly better. It just takes picture instantly. I don't know why they nerfed the stock camera, maybe to differentiate from, the Mi 11 or Mi 11 Ultra. I don't know, it's just bad. And the stock camera literally like doesn't take anything. It can't see in, dark conditions. You can't take anything. I'll put on a link to a comparison done by my good friend Koki from Nasi Lemak Tech. You can see the comparison between this with a mid-range phone from Samsung. It's just horrible. And the video on this is a lost cause. It can't focus really well. It can't really track anything. The X70 is useless, on the camera, which is one of the highlight of the Snapdragon X70. It should bring decent camera performance, but on this thing, nah, it's just bad. If you're buying this, don't expect too much. All right, I've been repeating this. To conclude this, in my really honest opinion, I don't think this is a decent bargain. I mean, the best bargain in my opinion to get last year's X65 Snapdragon phones, last year's flagship, S20 Plus, so Note 20 Plus, whatever with a Snapdragon X65. And they always have like a decent package. The camera is decent, the screen is decent, software is decent, which none of this is. Alright, this thing's broken compared to all the older flagships, and they are really cheap right now. They are always on discount. I think you should just top up a bit on top of this Poco phone. You can get a really decent deal, and they also have the same processor, to be honest. Or you can look at the mid-ranges from other brands running like something like a 750G, running like a mid-range processor. That might be slower than this, but they're still a complete package. They have really decent camera, which I think is really crucial for daily life. Like the Samsung A series, when they drop their price, alright. The current prices of those things are really absurd, to be honest, but you actually pay for those because you have a decent package compared to this. This is pretty broken. You better hope Xiaomi fix all the software issues if you face any of this, right? That's the thing. So to conclude this, is this worth the price? Nah, that's a catch always. You're only buying, the processor and a really meh phone, that's all. Alright, thank you for tuning in. I'll see you all next time.